Daimio and Olson Law Group, where every client matters. Serving Newcastle, Elwood City, and Youngstown. Daimio and Olson handles criminal law, bankruptcy, civil matters, workers' compensation, personal injury, medical malpractice, divorce, wills, real estate, and many more legal issues. Call any one of their offices in Newcastle, Elwood City, or Youngstown with these phone numbers. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Daimio and Olson Law Group, where every client matters.
Whether it's time to fix the furnace, throw the salt, shovel the drive, it's Paul D. Weller Hardware. We have what you need. Whether it's time to get warm, make the macaroni, make the ravioli, make the pizzelles, throw another log on the fire, or get ready for Christmas. It's Paul D. Weller Hardware. Hey, let's go sled ride.
Bill's Bake Shop will make you happy. Owner Bill Cast and his staff keep the tradition going with all the bakery items you remember as a kid. Just to name a few, Bill makes cream sticks, cinnamon rolls, bear claws, cream horns, cannoli, cakes, pies, cookies, bread, pizza, and more. You can also buy homemade cavatelli and ravioli. Bill's Bake Shop, located 228 North Liberty Street in the Mahoningtown section of Newcastle, is open Tuesday through Saturday, 7 to 5, and Sunday, 7 to 2, closed Monday. Bill's, where smiles are everywhere. Call 724-654-42.
Wow, yes, it's fun to go to the Y, and now with great affordable rates, it's more swimming, more exercise, more family time. The YMCA in downtown Newcastle or the Y Zone on Eleanor Drive in Shannon Township welcomes you to a variety of programs, exercise, and fun events.
If you're craving pizza and more, then Little Johnny's 2 wants you to come through the door. Their menu includes many pizza varieties, jumbo wings, hoagies, calzones, strombolis, flatbread sandwiches, bread bowl salads, soups, and more. Dine in, take out, or have them delivered. Little Johnny's 2 can even cater your next party. Their prices are right, and the food is the way you expect it. Little Johnny's 2 is located at 130 East Washington Street in downtown Newcastle. Call 724-657-2210.
Don't lie around like the winter snow.
Bring in the NCTV45.
Hi, welcome to Focus NC on NCTV45. This is host Matthew Geyer from the Washington Outsider. Please visit me at www.washingtonoutsider.org for our latest take of the news of the day. Today, Newcastle, I wanted to spend a little time talking about attitudes. Now, when you encounter someone in a store, an employee, the person's attitude can really affect, whether you want to go back to that store or not. We all know that. I mean, we've all ran into a rude cashier, or someone maybe had an off day, or maybe they're not a very friendly person. But really, it makes you not want to go back to the place. It's especially true when it happens to be the owner. There's that just, you're not going to want to give the business because, even if they were the cheapest place in the town, they're not necessarily the one place you're going to want to go. You don't want to be treated wrong. It's not just always about the money. It's about how people act. And I think that's kind of maybe a little bit lost on a lot of people who, maybe business owners, corporations, that they don't understand that there doesn't seem to be this understanding that attitudes matter. But, it's also true that kind of the attitudes of a community matter too, for those very reasons, the economy. And when people don't have a constructive attitude, a positive, and the customer isn't always right, but the way you treat people needs to really reflect kind of a helpful, constructive, condescending, just a really way that I'm here to help you, and here to be kind of service, to be a service, to provide a service, and that, I welcome you, you're part of my community. Now, Newcastle, as I've learned, has some real strong community identity. It has some, there's a lot of people who are very supportive of the community, who very much love their community, are very friendly, very nice. But one of the problems with Newcastle, and we've discussed this before on the show, is that it has a very fractured culture, to where there's kind of an insider politics going on, where groups are very friendly with each other and very supportive, very, serve each other. But when it comes to outsiders, there's a real disparity. I'm going to tell you a little story that, kind of gets to that very attitude issue. And, this has created a lot of different problems. This has created kind of an attitude towards outsiders, to people who you may not know, to people who are necessarily not part of it. And, one of the situations, I kind of encountered a situation. I was, over the holidays, needed to get some salary for a dish from one of the local Giant Eagles, and I go out there. I pull into the local parking spot, to the first parking lot I come to. It's the middle of the night, so I park close to the store. Anyone is. There's not many cars in the parking lot, and of course in Giant Eagle they have a lot of handicapped and expecting mother parking. So I tend to stick on the outside for that reason. I pull up to this car. There's two cars beside me. There's a space. I don't want to block in the one guy from the parking from his driver's side. So I elect to park in the spot that's directly next to someone's passenger side. That's just kind of my practice. A driver, you never know if there's going to be a passenger, but the driver. Well, I go to get out, and this person is parked over the line just by a little bit, and I'm like, oh great, this is inconvenient. But I don't get upset. I just carefully get out of the car, walk in, do my shopping. Notice there's a lady in front of me, in front of the line, who's kind of being very strange about how she's being very particular about how she's putting stuff on. Maybe she's neurotic, or maybe she just had making sure she has everything. But so she goes, I go to the cash checkout, I have a little conversation about what the difference between organic and regular celery is. Apparently there's a big difference in the taste and stuff. I don't know if it's worth $5 a pound or $5 a stalk, but so I buy the celery, go out, and there's this lady looking at her car, and she's like, this is just ignorant. And she turns around and sees me, and she's like, this is just ignorant, you couldn't have parked anywhere else. And I'm like, excuse me? And she reiterates, and then she sits there and proceeds to explain to me how I could have parked somewhere else. And I said, lady, I just parked in the easiest spot for here. I pulled in. She continues to say, well, that's just ignorant. There's all these other parking places. I told her, I'm not going to park all the way across the other end of the parking lot. It's like, if you have an issue with people parking next to you, then you should be the one to go park ahead. And so she proceeds to say that's ignorant. And I'm like, lady, I am parked in the center of my parking space. If you are over the line. If you had parked properly, you could get in your passenger side. And she's like, well, that's just ignorant. So I respond and I say, lady, you have a trunk, you have a back seat, or you can put your groceries in from the driver's side. You don't need to get in that side. She says, I have my way of doing things. As she's doing this, she's muttering, that's so Newcastle, that's so Newcastle. And she keeps reiterating this, that's so Newcastle. Which makes me to believe that she's from Newcastle, and she has a real chip on her shoulder about Newcastle. Or maybe she's outside of town or something, but man, I couldn't believe it. It's such a petty example. And of course, I just stood there, I kind of copied her license plate, or memorized it, stood behind her, and waited for her to leave, just in case incidences like this happen. But the situation kind of thing, is that so Newcastle? And I think maybe that's part of the issue. That kind of attitude that there's a lesson here. And maybe I might be irritated if someone parks next to me when there's a lot of parking space, but I'm not going to flip out on them. They have the right to do that. It doesn't affect me, really. And if I wanted to get in the parking spot, and there's really a couple things this story can learn from. One is when we react to other people doing things, it kind of tells us that there's things that it's perfectly legitimate for someone to park properly in a parking space. It gets at two issues we have. One is that, are we dealing with such petty things? Two, or such petty things, I should say, sorry. Or two, why are we dealing with such issues from such an egocentric perspective? Why are we looking at what other people do and seeing this as just from our perspective? And that gets at kind of this attitude that really limits our ability to be successfully interact with other people. Well, when we come back, we're going to kind of further expand upon this discussion. Hear from some of our local sponsors. Don't forget to go visit them. And we'll be right back.
Tuscany Square Restaurant, 3470 Wilmington Road, where old world charm meets today's modern conveniences. You'll enjoy their spacious, comfortable seating, their fresh ingredients that go into making every dish, whether it's pizza or that just right entree. Tuscany Square Restaurant, they're here to serve you. Call 724-654-3065. It's time to go to Chilella & Carney, floral design artists, for flowers, plants, figurines, and so much more. Whether you're celebrating that special day, that special engagement, anniversary, birthday, you name it, Chilella & Carney has what you need. At 1006 South Mill Street, it's Chilella & Carney. The Beanery Depot and Deli. Coffee, made-to-order subs, snacks, and more. Meatball sandwiches, fresh and hot. Pepperoni rolls, fish sandwiches, chicken, milkshakes. The Beanery Deli. When you're hungry for something special, and it won't cost you a lot of beans. Yes, I'm in Mr. Pizza. Hi, we're here with
Sydney.
and it looks like you girls have had a great lunch. Can you tell me what you have, Sydney?
The ham and cheese sub.
Oh, today's special. What did you have?
I had pepperoni pizza and part of the ham and cheese sub, and they were both very good.
Hey, it's always best when you get your food and somebody else's. And here at Mr. Pizza, what a great time. Stop down. Check out the special. Hello, friends. Are you a person on the go? Do you need snacks? cookies, maybe just a deli sandwich, lottery or gas, it's Gino's in Mahoningtown for all your needs. Stop by Gino's and tell them NCTV45 sent you. Arlington Market, located at 726 Arlington Avenue, has all the great food you remember. Yes, their canned goods are fantastic and feature that old world taste. And meat, cheeses, produce, lunch meats, fresh cut meats, groceries, and so much more. It's Arlington Market. It'll make your table look spectacular.
It's Butts Flowers in downtown Newcastle for fine gifts and more. It's Flowers, 120 East Washington Street, Newcastle, with a wide variety of flowers for any occasion. Call Butts Flowers, 724-652-7727, or toll free from anywhere, 1-800-443-7726. It's Butts Flowers in downtown Newcastle.
Pegley's, pasta and more. When you're hungry for that great Italian taste, bellissimo, it is tremendous. You have to stop by Pegley's for pasta, sandwiches, pizza. Yes, it's Pegley's Pasta and More for that great Italian taste. It's not just for Sunday anymore. Head over to Pegley's.
Whether it's a scheduled appointment or same-day service, DiCaprio Carpet Cleaning offers 24/7 service for commercial, industrial, and residential, as well as fire and water damage restoration. Using state-of-the-art technology, DiCaprio Carpet Cleaning experts are ready to professionally clean your carpet today. Call DiCaprio Carpet Cleaning for a free in-home estimate. Thank you for making us Lawrence and Mercer County's largest carpet cleaner.
And remember, nobody gets your carpet cleaner.
If you're having a party, then Keystone Specialty is the place you need to go. Yes, they have every party supply that you can imagine. Planning that wedding, that graduation, or maybe it's just that big game that's coming up, go to Keystone Specialty. Party supplies and so much more. Remember, they have those fall decorations, winter, spring, and summer. It's Keystone Specialty on the south side of Newcastle, Mill Street.
Wow, yes, it's fun to go to the Y, and now with great affordable rates, it's more swimming, more exercise, more family time. The YMCA in downtown Newcastle, or the Y Zone on Eleanor Drive in Shannon Township, welcomes you to a variety of programs, exercise, and fun events.
If you're craving pizza and more, then Little Johnny's too wants you to come through the door. Their menu includes many pizza varieties, jumbo wings, hoagies, calzones, strombolis, flatbread sandwiches, bread bowl salads, soups, and more. Dine in, take out, or have them delivered. Little Johnny's too can even cater your next party. Their prices are right, and the food is the way you expect it. Little Johnny's 2 is located at 130 East Washington Street in downtown Newcastle. Call 724-657-2210.
Hi, welcome back to Focus NC on NCTV45. This is host Matthew Yard from the Washington Outsider. Don't forget to visit our www.washingtonoutsider.org for our latest take on the news today. Today we're kind of talking about attitudes in Newcastle and kind of, you know, we see a lot of the problems socially, you know, and, you know, we have this division, and we have a lot of socioeconomic problems, and I think part of it really stems from people's attitudes. You know, after all, you know, these issues really stem from the individual. It starts with the individual. That's how you overcome them. That's how you deal with it. And I just gave a story about how an interaction with someone at a local Giant Eagle who expected to have a parking space that was just about, you know, suitable for her, and to get angry because I happened to park next to her and because she had parked over the line. I mean, honestly, I think she was trying to double park to ensure no one, you know, drove next to her. But, she can't continue to say this Newcastle attitude, this Newcastle, only in Newcastle, only in Newcastle. I mean, that really suggests there's an attitude, someone has a chip on their shoulder, that they have a problem with the way the mentality is. And that's you know, to be focused on something petty like that, to be so angry about something because someone parked next to you, really suggests you have an attitude that really creates a problem. See, when you're so focused on the little things like that, you can't focus on the big things. Remember a few years ago, don't sweat the small stuff. Well, that kind of gets out of it. And then number two, the egocentrism. You know, a lot of people in Newcastle, they love their community, but when it gets to the point where you're like, this is the center of the universe, I'm the center of the universe, that creates a problem. And maybe this lady who I had this confrontation with, maybe she has a decent job, maybe her husband's a lawyer or something, but that kind of entitlement attitude to where it's my way, people should be served around me, that's a real problem because it turns people away. It makes people not want to be part of the community. And that's kind of that, I guess maybe that's what she sees it, but from her perspective, the Newcastle attitude. But, you know, her blaming the community for her own egocentrism, her own, you know, attitude problem, that's really kind of indicative of what needs to change, is that, you know, you can't just live your whole life thinking about it from your own perspective. You can't just live in a community and expect the community to be there for your convenience. You know, you look at the division of the community, and that's kind of the issues. I mean, and really, I think one of the largest problems with Newcastle is, and we've talked about this with New Visions on here, where there's been studies done concluding that unless you can revitalize the city of Newcastle as the center of the county, as the most populous center, the whole county of Lawrence cannot thrive. I mean, and that's an issue. But one of the problems is if you have the Newcastle downtown in the center, then you have Neshannock, you have Union, you have Shenango with all their own little stores. They have their own little Giant Eagles. They have all these little conveniences. So no one is actually interacting in the same area. Now, those stores aren't going to change, but there isn't new things coming into the downtown. There's nothing centrified. People are trying to live in their own little world. And at the same time, they're looking at other people and saying, how is this convenient to me? How is this serve my purposes? You know, these people aren't part of mine. There's a real cultural divide, and that really gets at a lot of the problems. And at the same time, there's no sense of service to the community. There's this sense of service to me. The community exists for me. You know, not let's build a community that serves all of us. And that's when you come into a town, or whether you're a business owner wanting to open a door, or you're someone who's coming to a local store. Maybe you're coming from out of town for the dentist. Maybe you're coming in for a doctor, a lawyer, or something. But when you come into a place and the whole attitude's like, you come into town, you better be here to, you know, make me some money. You better come into town to do this for me. And I'm not going to provide a business. I'm not going to do anything in the community to service you. I'm allowing you, the community, this kind of this almost arrogance of my community exists solely for me. You're all being allowed in this community. That really hurts Newcastle's ability to recover from its issues, to come together with a unity, to be more service oriented, to be business friendly. You know, that self-serving mentality, that egocentrism, that inhibits the kind of, you know, outward growth you need. And let's face it, you know, this is a world where, you know, communities depend on outsiders to come in and finance. It's true in every place. And you're not just going to have customers who are your best friend or your cousins or this or that, you know, and everyone has issues. You know, and it really requires, you know, starting to look at people, how you treat people, how you see other people, and how you look at yourself. It really requires that kind of, you know, what are we both having here? What is the balance here in you coming to my town to do shopping, to get a service, to do something? What is my community providing? Is my community providing? If you're a business owner, if you own a building, is it just about, you know, how do I maximize it for me? You have to consider the person who's buying it. You have to consider, you know, the costs of not, say, taking a discount. You know, when there was the Great Recession, a lot of big business banks, a lot of the mortgage meltdown problems were actually caused because the banks wouldn't give up their ownership on these bad loans. You still have a lot of problems. It was extenuated. You know, and that's kind of what's happened in Newcastle too, is a lot of people aren't willing to take a cost onto themselves for the benefit of the community, for the redevelopment of the community. And whether that's, you know, how you treat other people, or how you build things, or, you know, letting a business in, or you know, really sacrificing kind of your vision of the community or your memories, you know, whatever position you might be in this community. That's a lot of the problems. And when it comes down to it, it comes down to that attitude. That very, you know, it's a very disharmonious, a very offensive attitude. And, you know, that creates a lot of problems in a community. Well, right now we have to take a break to hear from some of our local sponsors. When we come back, we'll kind of finish up this discussion and maybe, you know, look at it in terms of more specific issues. Thank you. And, you know, kind of allay some of those fears. Well,
The Cedars is a great restaurant with outstanding Mediterranean food. The Cedars takeout menu is second to none, featuring pizza, stromboli, hoagies, their famous lamb on the rod, and so much more. So when you're hungry and you want that Newcastle taste, make it Cedars. Now with 2 locations in Newcastle, 827 Addis Street on the east side and 1101 Highland Avenue. Call Cedars East, 724-658-9260, or Cedars North, 724-652-7657.
There's more than meets the eye. You gotta give them a Newcastle a try. The right small town for living. Look around.
Wow, yes, it's fun to go to the Y. And now, with great affordable rates, it's more swimming, more exercise, more family time. The YMCA in downtown Newcastle, or the Y Zone on Eleanor Drive in Shannon Township, welcomes you to a variety of programs, exercise, and fun events.
The Beanery Depot and Deli, coffee, made-to-order subs, snacks, and more. Meatball sandwiches, fresh and hot. Pepperoni rolls, fish sandwiches, chicken, milkshakes. The Beanery Deli. When you're hungry for something special, and it won't cost you a lot of beans.
It's Little Johnny's Pizza 2 in downtown Newcastle with a great variety menu that you will tell everybody about. Chris Quiera, the owner, is here with more information.
Stop down and see us at Little Johnny's 2. We're located at 130 East Washington Street, or give us a call at 724-657-2210.
all right, welcome back to Focus NC on NCTV45. This is host Matthew Geiger from the Washington Outsider. Visit us at www.washingtonoutsider.org for our latest take on the news of the day. Today we're kind of talking about attitudes in Newcastle. And we're not just talking about customers coming into the town, people needing service, whether it's from Lawrence County or they're coming from Ohio or they're coming from Pittsburgh or Erie or whatnot. You know, we're also talking about a lot of this applies to how we treat each other. And we have divisions. We have a lot of divisions in this community where along the lines of financial, along the lines of kind of racial, ethnicities, religion, and that's kind of our attitudes, the way we treat each other. really kind of get in the way of real development. You know, instead of, you know, we're this egocentrism, how is the rest of the community serving me? How is this about, you know, my benefits? And that's really something that needs to be confronted and overcome. And this requires people with the power to change the community, to bring in businesses, to help form businesses, and to help support the businesses to actually really overcome. And of course, you know, whether it's a long-standing grievance between two people who just can't stand each other, or, you know, this group or this group has had a feud for the last I don't know, 50 years. Those are the kind of things we need to overcome. They're the kind of things that tear apart the community. And, you know, unless we have this attitude where we're saying it doesn't matter if you're from this part of town, you're from this, you know, you're part of my community. There's a lot of great people in Newcastle, and I think they need to start seeing not just their grievances against this group or that group or this person or that person. They need to start overcoming that and seeing what we each have to offer the community, what we have to do for each other. It's not just about, you don't just come into the community, you don't just, you know, do a deal in town because it benefits you. You do it, it benefits you when the community's strong, and it has to ultimately make the community stronger. And that's kind of the problem is that there's a lot of self-serving behavior in Newcastle, a lot of egocentrism to focus on what are my needs, that it gets in the way of really rebuilding the community, that bringing people together to utilize the talent that people have, as well as the resources our community has. This, you know, until you can overcome that, and you can look, even today, you know, there's certain issues today. For instance, we see terrorism, the Islamic State, threat of terrorism. This is an international issue. Now, you know, if you look in Newcastle, there's a lot of Lebanese, Syrians, and this is kind of, this issue kind of, this macroscopic issue, it has nothing to do with the people already here. For the people already here, you know, they're they're assimilated into the Newcastle culture. They're part of the culture. But, you know, because of some of these divisions, this is kind of inflaming that division, making it division. There's, I think, some concern that a lot of these people are being maybe pushed aside, that we're being divided by an issue that has nothing to do with the internal community of Newcastle. These people, you know, they've been here for generations. They're part of the community. And that's kind of gets at a lot of the issues we've talked about in Newcastle, where we've talked about race. People have been here for generations, yet we act like they're part of a different community. People have been fully supporting the community, been members trying to make for the good of the community, yet we act as though they're interlopers. And I think that's a dynamic shared by all different divisions of the community. And that's where really you have to overcome first in order to really work on building up Newcastle, is people have to come together for the common good. They have to overcome just their self-serving impulses, their kind of this alienated, their own groups, where there's perfectly decent people in all groups, but they're not giving the loyalty to, they're not giving the friendliness, they're not giving the constructive mentality, they're not willing to work with people from different groups. It's about, you know, these self-serving, this egocentrism, this my culture, and those are the kind of divisions that we really need to overcome. Well, this has been Focus NC on NCTV45. You know, a good way to start the new year's kind of like dealing with some of the issues, and this is a real thing I think we can kind of try to work with in the following months to years. And, you know, it's not going to be an easy solve, but, you know, it starts with reforming your attitude towards other people. Well, thank you for joining us.
There's more than meets the eye. You gotta give them a Newcastle a try. The right small town for living. Look around.
There are people in this
this country who work hard every day, not for fame or fortune do they